Hello, everyone. You are listening to the latest Flyers Talk podcast. I am Jordan Hall, and as always, I am joined by Joe Fordyce, our Flyers pre- and post-game live producer. And Joe, Flyers hockey is right around the corner. Rookie training camp starts this week, Thursday, at Flyers Training Center in Voorhees. And they have a couple rookie games up at PPL Center in Allentown Friday and Saturday. For those listening, you can get the schedule and roster for rookie camp on our website, NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com. And we thought, why not? Let's look at 3 players to watch in rookie camp and for the rookie game. So, Joe, let's get right into it. Who's your first guy to watch?
Yeah, I think we're going to agree on this one, and it's Alex Bump, because I think the likelihood of us seeing Alex Bump on opening night for the Flyers is very good. So, of course, we want to get a look at him really against players that he should stand out amongst. He really should stand out against these youngsters and playing with them. And this will be our first look at him really with the Flyers in game action. We saw the college. We've seen, the camp they had with some of the draft picks and things, but we really want to see him in game action. And if he does stand out, it's one of those things that fans can latch on to and get excited about to see early on in the season. Is one of these guys you've heard about, he's going to be on the ice opening night. So I'm looking to see not only see Alex Bump in a Flyers uniform in game action, but also see him stand out and give some people things to look forward to on opening night and beyond.
Prospects won't lose their chance at making the roster in rookie camp, but they can really, really help themselves by doing exactly what you said, Joe, standing out. I remember 3 years ago, Noah Cates was probably the best player in rookie camp, and he looked like the best player in rookie camp. Like, he looked like...
Yeah, and I'm thinking Emil Andre, the same thing. Emil Andre there was a buzz about, hey, you got to see this kid. And then you saw him play in the preseason, and it was, wow, he's willing to take a hit to make a play and all these things. And then, obviously injury derailed a little bit of the season last year for Andre, but as you said, the guys can really help themselves out and sort of set a tone. I don't want to say for their career, but they can set a tone for at least their early part of their career in this rookie game. And the rookie camp and the rookie games, I should say.
Noah Cates really looked like the best player in that rookie camp year for him, and he ended up making the team and spending the full season with the Flyers. And so I think that's what you're looking for. And Alex Bump, I think that's going to be the expectation, is have him really stand out, look like the best player, if not the best player, one of the best players in rookie camp, and really shine in the rookie games. That they're not really looking for him to be this full 200-foot player. More so just show your strengths, maybe score a goal, and really show that you're ready for main camp. Alex Bump in development camp looked like the best player on the ice, and that's exactly what you wanted. Now, next up for him is rookie camp. Joe, he's the guy I'm circling too, because he's the one with the most realistic chance to make the roster come main camp. And I think fans are starting to get excited about him. He was a 5th-round pick in 2022. Wasn't really on the radar then, but now he's very much on the radar. And I think everyone thinks he probably should have been a higher pick in that draft. So I think some fans are starting to realize him, get to know him. And he's the guy that plays the position the Flyers probably have the most openings. It's at wing. And I really think even now that we know Tyson Foerster is probably going to be okay for the start of the season, he still has a very good chance, Bump, at making the roster.
Yeah. We did the lineups. When we did our lineup podcast, projecting the lineup, correct me if I'm wrong, we both had him in the lineup opening night. Different spots, but we both had him in the lineup. And that tells you all you need to know about what we're expecting from this kid. So that's going to start with rookie camp. I mean, it started with the development camp, but now it continues with the rookie camp, rookie games. I mean, this is the natural progression of things. So definitely looking forward to seeing the next step for Bump.
Brent Flair, the team's assistant general manager, after development camp in July, said even Tyson Forster injury aside, he felt that Bump had a real good shot to make the Flyers roster. So they're expecting big things from him. And for some fans that maybe don't know a ton about him, really good goal scoring winger, a kid that can put the puck in the net. He played 2 seasons at Western Michigan, was over a point per game player, and then won the national championship last season. So he did it all at the high school level in Minnesota, at the college level with Western Michigan, and really has some confidence to him. Not a cockiness, but a confidence. And I think you need that, Joe, when you're a prospect that's trying to make the NHL at a young age, 21 years old. You need some confidence to yourself.
Yeah, and look at, so he wins a national championship at Western Michigan, who's put other players, including Flyers president Keith Jones, into the NHL. So it's a established program, and they reached the mountaintop for college hockey. That's not a small thing. I mean, people, and rightfully so, say how much different the college game is than NHL, and it is, but that doesn't mean it can't translate to the NHL. And I think that's where we have to look. And I mean, the guy pretty much accomplished everything you could in college hockey. Standout player on the team that won the national championship at a well-established college hockey program, if not powerhouse. And I don't think it's really that far of a stretch to call them the powerhouse.
And the Flyers really, I think, could use some help on the wing, Joe. I think that's a position where they definitely have some guys now. But as we all know, that this team has needed more goal scoring, more offensive threats. And Bump seems to be a guy that can maybe check some boxes, put the puck in the net a little bit, and maybe help the Flyers find some answers at areas where they've needed answers.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting to that point in the rebuild where maybe now stuff has to start to go up. And I'm going to borrow the phrases that John Tortorella used starting around mid-season last year. And he said it's kind of starting to go this way now. It has to. And it has to start with guys like Alex Bump. We know the quantities of some of the guys that are on the team. So it's some of the other guys that we don't know the quantities of that are going to make this thing start to point upward. And, yes, they're still hamstrung by salary cap this season, but we know that's coming to an end too. So things need to start to point up, and I think Alex Bump's going to be a big reason why.
Bump will definitely be a guy that fans should circle come these rookie games and rookie camp. Joe, after Bump, who's a guy that you're watching?
All right, I'm going to go with Carson Bjarnason because I think that the Flyers need to see some daylight in the future for their goaltending situation. We've talked about this ad nauseum on this podcast, in the newsroom for my whole life, like about goaltending in this team. And it'd be nice to see a guy. Now, the Flyers had this with Carter Hart. They saw him come through the system and that looked like it was heading in the right direction. Of course, there were legal issues, and we know how that transpired. And so I'm not discrediting their ability to develop a goaltender because they seem to have done that with Carter Hart. But it would be nice to see, okay, they have this guy waiting in the wings. Or how about this? He plays even well enough that if there's an injury, not that we're hoping that or anything like that, that this kid could get a look this year, maybe. I know we talked about the possibility of that on this podcast before, and it's extremely unlikely out of camp. I would almost say impossible. But for him to show signs that he's not that far away, I think is what you want to see. And to see him in game action. Again, the game action aspect of this, I don't think can be understated. It's one thing to see him in practice. It's one thing to see him in development camp. It's another thing to see him in a game against another team trying to score on him. And like I said, the Flyers are looking for daylight at this position because this position seems to be, once again, what hampers them the most. There's a couple. but I don't think any of them are bigger than goaltending, because as we talked about, goaltending is probably the biggest obstacle from them and between them and the playoffs at this point in the rebuild.
No doubt. And Bjarnason was a second-round pick in 2023, the year the Flyers got Matvei Michkov. And we've seen him in a rookie game over his time here in the organization. But the reason I think it's going to be so exciting to see him this time is because he's turning pro this time, Joe. Before, we all knew it was a kid that was going to be headed back to junior hockey, and he was going to be young. And if he gave up some goals, that's par for the course. The fact that he's turning pro and will be with the Phantoms this year, he's going to be playing in the building that he's going to be playing in this season. So I think that's why this is so exciting to see him this time in camp. And really, as you mentioned, Joe, get him in game action, see how he fares. And he battled an injury towards the end of his year last year with Brandon in the WHL with the Wheat Kings. He joined the Phantoms at the tail end of their season, but didn't really play much at all because I believe he didn't play at all because he was rehabbing this injury. And apparently he was really rehabbing it pretty good. It was something pretty serious. So when he was in development camp this summer, I wasn't paying too much attention because I knew he was just coming off this injury. But now I'm really curious to see how he fares in rookie camp and really get an eye on him in game action.
Yeah, I think it just will be refreshing to hear, hey, a goaltender in the Flyers system really stood out. Just hearing those words, I think, would get fans excited. And as you pointed out, there's always this hesitation when you see guys that the Flyers have drafted in recent years, and you know that you're not going to, and when I say not going to be able to see them, you're not going to be able to see them with either the Phantoms or the Flyers. There's always hesitation to get overly excited because you have to search out junior hockey to find it. The fact that he's turning pro is a huge deal because the ability to see the guy, I think that's when it really clicks with the fans. Yeah. And we've seen it with other players in the past. So I think that's a huge part of it. And, there's not a further step than the Phantoms other than the Flyers. And if he stands out, and look, you don't want to, nobody's hoping for the situation where you have the fans clamoring for a goalie that's in the minor leagues. That happened with Carter Hart, because you don't want that goaltender to be in the midst of this pressure to sort of save the franchise or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that Bjarnason comes with that kind of fanfare right out of the gate. And Carter Hart did. So I think it could be a slow build, but you want to see that start to build. And maybe have some signs that maybe this guy is could be a future goaltender here. Yeah. And that's all going to start with this rookie camp, making sure he's healthy for one, because as you mentioned, getting looks at him when he's coming off an injury is not the best way to see him. So rookie camp, rookie game, this is where you want to see kind of step one of that process.
He didn't play with the Phantoms when he joined them. He's strictly rehabbed. So this will be his first game action in a little while. So I think I'm sure he's chomping at the bit. And I think fans are going to be absolutely intrigued to see what this second rounder can do. And especially a second rounder who's going to be joining the Phantoms and a crowded goalie picture with the Phantoms. Joe, my other player to watch, number 2, Jett Luchanko. I'm really intrigued to see what he looks like in a second rookie camp now. Last rookie camp, he had Matvei Michkov to play with. He won't have Michkov this time. And according to a source, Luchanko was dealing with a groin issue this summer. He was not in development camp because of that. And the Flyers are hoping he'll be good for rookie camp. But he does still need to be cleared by Flyers team doctors and trainers. So we'll see if Luchanko will definitely be on the ice in rookie camp. I think the Flyers are hopeful he will. And Joe, I'm just excited to see what he can do with some different guys around him. And as we all know, he got a taste of the NHL last year. So how much better did he get once he went back to junior hockey, once he played in World Juniors? And can he maybe sniff the Flyers a little bit again? Or will he be headed back there to junior hockey and play in the OHL? But I'm just really excited to see him because I think he's a fun player. He does a lot of the little things, and he's really fast. So I think if I'm telling fans who to watch, Luchanko's right up there with them.
Yeah, and this is the guy, there's no two ways about it. From when he was picked when he was picked and where in the draft he was picked, the Flyers need this guy to pan out. They need him to be what he was advertised as when they drafted him so highly. And when albeit a 9-game tryout, and kind of everybody, I think, saw the writing on the wall of what that was going to be at the beginning of last season. It was NHL experience. He played at the time Wells Fargo Center, now Xfinity Mobile Arena. He played there in front of NHL crowds against NHL rosters. So you're kind of looking for that next step. And that next step would be, in my opinion, pushing for a spot during training camp. Whether he gets it or not, I don't know. But you'd want to see him in the mix, I'll say. And, it's a guy, because fans have seen him, they're going to want to see what's next. Yeah. I don't want to say the pressure's on, because he's really young, so I'm not going to say the pressure is on him, but I do think there's a progression that you'd want to see with Luchanko, and he's another one you'd want to see them stand out in this rookie game, because the competition he's playing against, you should be seeing a guy like Luchanko stand out, be noticeable. And like I said, then when he gets to training camp, hopefully challenge for a roster spot.
And he really stood out last rookie camp. I remember he was in that first game with Matvei Mishkov, and Mishkov looked great, of course. He was as advertised, but everyone thought Luchanko was right there with him in terms of standing out. Ian LaPerriere, the former Phantoms coach, even said that he thought Luchanko was up there with Mishkov in terms of just impressing him and opening his eyes. And Luchanko played that full weekend, and it was just a kid that had just kept going. Like, he didn't tire. His stamina was really impressive, and he carried it all the way into main camp. And then, won John Tortorella over, and like made the roster because he impressed Tortorella so much. So as long as that groin issue from this summer is kind of in the past, I think everyone's going to be looking for Luchanko to stand out here.
Yeah, and I think part of the thing too is, now in all sports, there's this lack of patience that hovers over all of the sports in different ways. But when you get these shiny new toys, you want to see them right away. Mm-hmm. And last year, fans got a little taste of it, but you want to see it. There's almost like this first round pick. Why isn't he here? There's only, there's that kind of thing. So I think if he gives people a good look in their rookie camp and rookie games, I think people will get excited about his prospects for his future when he gets to the Flyers, which, who knows, could be, a month from now.
Yeah, I agree. And I would have no problem personally if Luchanko went back to junior hockey this year, put up big numbers, played for Team Canada at the World Juniors, did all those things that the really good prospects do in their final year of junior hockey. I don't think that would be a bad thing for his development. I'm sure some fans would like to see him sooner rather than later, but we'll see where it goes, starting with rookie camp. Joe, your third player to watch in rookie camp, who is it?
Well, I'm going to say Jack Nesbitt here, and here's my reason. When I hear, now this is just a personal thing, I don't know if this is the way everyone views it, but when I hear, okay, the Flyers traded up for a guy, a good amount, and then the first knock is speed, I kind of want to see that in action. Mm-hmm. To kind of put the talk to bed. So if for example, if somebody says, well, yeah, that kid, Jack Nesbitt is lacking speed, and you want to, well, I saw him play, and it's because a lot of times, a lot of young players, they lack speed. And part of the thing is because they're not playing at a level that requires them to ramp up the speed as much as the NHL does. So I feel like it's almost this kind of hollow criticism that is dumped on a lot of young players that haven't played in the NHL yet. And when it really comes down to it, it's not accurate. It's not an accurate criticism when the guy is literally just got drafted a few months ago. So I want to see him in action and kind of, for myself, put those thoughts to bed, because it's a little, I don't know. You don't want to see on the first, like, detractors from a player that they lack speed. And I think once you see them in game action, that's how you can really tell whether it's an issue or it's not an issue. And to me, I can't believe it's really an issue if the Flyers made a point to trade up for him where they did.
Yeah, you can really judge speed in game action. And sometimes guys might not be super fleet of foot, but they get to the spot that they need to, and it doesn't really bother them or hinder them at all. So we'll see, especially with Jack Nesbitt, how his foot speed, how much he improved maybe this offseason on that in-game action. And Joe, the reason I think he could be really fun to watch is he loves to throw the body around a little bit. Like, this is a 6'5", on the verge of 6'6", 6'4". I think he's in the 6'4", 6'5" range center that likes to hit, likes to play physical. He, in junior hockey, even dropped the gloves and fought to defend teammates. So in development camp, he, against his own teammates, was throwing the body around. I think he could be fun against a different team's prospects. And I remember the Rangers in years past have had some big boys that were physical in these rookie games and would stir it up. And I think Nesbitt's going to embrace that. And I think he could be fun just to watch use his size. That could be really intriguing.
Yeah, and when you put all that together, that sounds like a recipe for a player that Philadelphia will love. Mm-hmm. A big guy, plays in the middle, gets in the middle of things, sticks up for teammates, and also possesses skill. The list is kind of short of guys that combine all that stuff. And you mentioned the Rangers got, I believe Matt Rempe was one of those guys a few years back that was out there mixing it up. We don't need him messing around with anybody like that.
Yeah.
But, but you would like to see him not shy away from the physical game. And again, there's competition with the unknown is the best way to see a guy's full body of work. And this will be the first chance to see that. And I think it'll give people a good idea of what kind of player Nesbitt is.
And I think some fans will be like, well, we don't want just a hitter or a guy that's physical. To be clear, Nesbitt is highly skilled. Like, his hands are very, very good. He's fun. He's fun to watch in that regard too.
And that's why we don't want him going up to the likes of a guy like Matt Rempe, who is just there to hit and fight.
Yeah.
But we do want to see the physical game nonetheless, but just not with guys like that.
Exactly. And it's good, I think, that he is 6'5", 6'4", and he's willing to play that style too. I think it's good that he understands, like, he needs to use his size to his advantage. So, and it makes him fun to watch. I just remember watching him in development camp. He was a guy wanting to throw some hits around and play a physical brand of hockey. And I watched his junior highlights, and he would drop the gloves to defend teammates. I think those are good qualities to have in a young prospect who is team oriented, wants to play the NHL style, but also he is a skilled player that I think will score some goals too. He will find teammates and makes him very much a player to watch here, I think, in rookie camp.
Yeah, to use the hockey cliche, you want to see a guy with a little sandpaper,
Yes.
little sandpaper in the game. And I think Nesbitt definitely has that. I believe that cliche might have been even used on draft night.
Probably.
Yeah.
That and snarl for sure.
Yes. The two S's, sandpaper and snarl.
Yep. Joe, for my third player, I'm going to go a defenseman who I think is probably the most touted defensive prospect in rookie camp, and that's Oliver Bonk. I'm just so excited to watch him play. And he's a guy that you really grow to appreciate the little details in his game. He might not jump out yet, by rushing the puck up ice, but he's just really smart. He does so many little things defensively that keep the puck out of his net. And we didn't see him in development camp. He was nursing a couple small injuries from a real long junior run that ended with a Memorial Cup title. So he was on the best junior team in Canadian Major Junior Hockey. And a guy that just really keeps the puck out of his net. Fun defenseman. He was the other first-round pick in 2023, not named Matvei Mishkov. So a guy that I think gets a little forgotten about sometimes because of the first round picks that the Flyers have accrued recently, and because he was in the same draft as Matvei Mishkov, but a defenseman that has an all-around game, and he's turning pro this year. He will be with the Phantoms if he doesn't make the Flyers. So I think this is a guy that will be in a building that he's going to get used to now. And I think if you're a Flyers fan that likes to go to PPL and watch the Phantoms play, watch Oliver Bonk because you're going to see him this year. So I have Bonk, Joe, as my third player.
Yeah, and I think this is a big year for Bonk because as we talked about on previous podcasts with the lineups, the outside of the top pair, the Flyers defense core is a little bit up in the air. And they need a guy that has an all-around game because right now, when you're looking at guys like Cam York and you're looking at guys like Jamie Drysdale, I don't know that you would describe them as all-around game. York probably more so than Drysdale. But the Flyers need a smart defenseman that has that all-around game and brings size to the table. And because they're not the biggest team. And he could be on a fast track to the Flyers if he shows some people some things. So who knows? Does he play the whole season with the Phantoms? I guess we'll see. But if he takes a step forward, I could see him in the orange and black of the Flyers and at the Phantoms very soon.
And one thing that I think it makes him appealing too is he won a lot at the junior level. And the Flyers are trying to build a winning culture again here in Philadelphia. So a kid that's been there, done that at the junior level, I think can help. At London in the OHL, he went to the OHL title 3 times. He won the title twice with London, including the last 2. They went back-to-back. And then they won the Memorial Cup this past season, really kind of pegging themselves as the best team in junior hockey. So just a kid that has won, and I think they could use that up here. They need, I think, players that understand what it takes to win, and he does all the little things to win. I think that could be fun to watch, especially in a rookie game setting where he'll play big minutes. Like, they're going to get him out there as long as he's good to go, and I think he is. They'll get him out there and playing big minutes.
Yeah, and I don't think it can be understated the learning how to win.
Yeah.
And just to compare it to another sport, I'm going to go back to all the members of the 2018 Villanova basketball team. None of those guys were super high draft picks. The Josh Harts, the Jalen Brunsons, Dante DiVincenzo's, but they've all come into the NBA and carved out roles in teams that are contending for titles, if not winning them. Yeah. There's something to be said for somebody that knows how to win. And Bonk certainly fits that profile when looking at everything that's happened up to this point. So there's no reason to think that, that wouldn't continue. And that could also rub off on some other players.
Yeah.
The ability to dig down deep in crunch time and get it done. It's an aspect of players that I think in sports now is totally underrated, is the knowingness of how to win in situations. And Bonk certainly has that so far.
I think it breeds confidence too. Riley Armstrong at development camp, the Flyers director of player development, said that Bonk and Denver Barkey really walked around the locker room with some swagger because they had just won the Memorial Cup. They won a ton in the OHL at the junior level. So the winning, I think, will breed confidence for a kid like Bonk. And like you said, Joe, in big games, big moments, like, he'll be used to that, which I think will be a good thing.
Yeah, and there's something to be said too for coming into a situation and expecting to win. And if all you've done is win, why wouldn't you come in and expect to do this? Just keep winning. So, look, obviously you're going to go through some bumps in the road, but expecting to win is not something that's taught. That is something that is it's acquired by winning. And there's no coach or assistant or trainer or anybody that can teach you how to win and expect to win. That comes by success. And both of those guys have it that you just mentioned so far.
These prospects will be on the ice Thursday at Flyers Training Center as rookie camp starts And we will have rookie camp and main training camp all covered here on the Flyers Talk podcast. Joe Fordyce, thank you so much, our Flyers pre- and post-game live producer. A big thank you to Tom Feiner for helping us here on the Flyers Talk podcast today. And of course, Flyers fans, thank you so much for listening to the latest Flyers Talk podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, please rate and listen. And we can't wait to talk to you next time.